dancers, welcome to Happy Trails, a mini course to plan your pivot. In this course, I'll guide you through a dancer-specific career change roadmap to give you confidence in your next steps. But first, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Kaylee and I'm the founder of Pivot for Dancers, and I was a professional dancer for 8 years before changing careers. Here's a brief summary of how it all panned out. I started dancing at age 3 in South Florida. I danced competitively on the competition and convention circuit until graduating high school in 2010. I moved to Orlando to go to the University of Central Florida and graduated with a degree in advertising and public relations in 2014. My professional dance career started in Orlando, where I danced part-time at theme parks while going to college. Eventually, I became a dance captain at Universal Studios while working several other dance jobs and auditioning full-time. Then, in 2016, I booked a cruise ship contract with Royal Caribbean and spent the next year and a half performing on Adventure of the Seas. During my time on ships, I started a blog and started freelance writing on Upwork. In 2018, I moved to Las Vegas to perform in Vegas the Show at Planet Hollywood. It was at this point that I knew I needed a change, and I couldn't see myself pursuing dance long term. So, at the end of 2018, I moved to Brisbane, Australia with my now fiancé, and I continued to pursue freelance writing to keep me afloat. Then, when the pandemic hit in 2020, I launched Pivot for Dancers to help professional dancers find meaningful work off the stage. In 2021, I traded freelance life for a stable agency gig and eventually moved on to a corporate role in digital marketing. And in 2024, I changed roles again, and now I work as a business analyst, where I analyze business problems and communicate projects to the tech teams. Which is all to say, I've been around the block. And now I'm ready to help you on your career change journey. So, let's get started. This is the 5-year career change roadmap that I'll guide you through in this course. Year 1 involves the steps you can take while you're still dancing professionally. This year sets the foundation for the rest of your career transition. In years 2 and 3, I'll share what you can work towards while you're in a new career to keep you on the right track. And in years 4 and 5, I'll take you through how to specialize in your new career and continue to find meaning outside of work. After that, it's all about reflecting on where you are to make sure you're where you want to be. Now, I really want to stress that this roadmap is in no way prescriptive. Definitely take it at your own pace. It's simply a guide to help you feel more confident in your next steps. So let's begin with year 1 and all the things you can do while you're still dancing professionally. I've actually broken down this year into 2 parts because there's really a lot you can do during this time. So let's start with just the first 3 months of your roadmap. In the first 3 months of your career transition, you're going to mentally prepare, explore your interests and values, assess your transferable skills, and find other industries. So first, let's talk about how to get mentally prepared for your pivot. This is so important because the majority of your career change is going to be a mental game, so pay attention. The 4 main mental hurdles that came up for me were grief, shame, identity, and mindset. So let's go through each of them. You may not think of grief outside of losing someone, but when you change careers, especially as a professional dancer, grief is bound to show up. Because even if you have so much to gain, there's a lot to let go of as well. When there's a deep loss of any kind, you're likely to experience grief. To demonstrate how grief can show up for you, we'll go through the 5 stages of grief. The first stage is denial. For dancers, this will probably show up before you even realize you're ready to change careers. This is when you're denying the reality that anything is wrong. It's common during this stage to say things like, "It's just this company that I don't like. Once I book my next job, I'll be fine." We deny ourselves because we don't want to face the truth that we probably have to do something about whatever issue we have with our dance careers. Then comes anger. At this stage, we'll probably start blaming the casting directors who never booked us, or we might be resentful towards the entire industry. And if you had to stop dancing due to an injury or an illness, you might be angry with a higher power. Next is bargaining. This is when you try to make a deal with yourself or someone else, or even with the powers that be. For dancers, bargaining is saying something like, "I'll just do one more contract and then I'm definitely done." Sound familiar? Depression hits at this point, and it is what it sounds like. You'll be down and out, feeling sad and unmotivated. You'll likely feel pretty helpless about the situation and just over it. But the good news is that if you're at this stage, you're close to coming out the other side. Because when you finally accept that you've let go of your dance career, you can start to open your eyes to everything else that's out there for you. It can take a while and you'll likely ebb and flow in and out of these stages. But mentally preparing for the fact that you'll most likely go through a grieving period can make it much easier to navigate. Now, let's go through shame, a complicated emotion that has deep roots. This is how Brené Brown, an expert on shame research, defines it. Shame is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love, belonging, and connection. As dancers and as humans, we are wired for connection and belonging. So when we pivot, it can feel like severing connections to yourself, your community, to everything. But there are some solutions. According to Brown, by being vulnerable and showing up for yourself, even if it's messy and imperfect, you can work to combat shame and feelings of unworthiness. Another big one is identity. We're taught that dance isn't what we do, it's who we are. Our entire identity is completely wrapped up in dance. But you don't have to shed your dancer identity. Simply add to it. You can be a dancer plus nature lover, bookworm, parent, and of course, a human. The truth is, you don't have to fit into a single identity. You can just be you. And finally, mindset shifts will be a dime a dozen during your transition. Starting with failure. We tend to see failure as black and white. We either succeeded or we failed. Instead, reframe it. Just because you never booked your dream job doesn't mean you failed as a dancer. Making a living as a professional performer is a huge success and the literal dream. So even if you didn't achieve everything you would have hoped for, you certainly haven't failed. Now, on to quitting. The word gets a bad reputation, but it shouldn't. I'm not saying that you should quit something just because it's challenging. That's when quitting is unhealthy. But quitting something that's clearly not working is a sign of strength and intelligence. By quitting something at the right time, you simply open yourself up to what's next. The sunk cost fallacy is a phenomenon coined by Richard Thaler. It's when you stick with something, even when all signs point against it, because you've already invested so much into it. With dancers, this one is particularly vicious. If you're like me, you invested 15 years into your training and a decade or more into your professional career. Not to mention all the money and support offered by parents and all the things you may have given up along the way. But the best way to combat this mindset is to remind yourself what might happen if you stay on this path. It's smart to cut your losses as early as possible. The best time to make a change might have been a year ago, but the second best time is now. A growth mindset will also prove incredibly important during your pivot. A growth mindset is believing you can grow, that you can learn new things and get good at new things. It's most likely been a long time since you were a beginner at something. It's going to feel foreign. So that's why it's essential that you lean into a growth mindset during your career change. And finally, it's key to drop the all or nothing mindset. We're so used to thinking in black and white. You're either a success or a failure, an artist or a sellout, a dancer or not a dancer. All of these are wrong. There's so much gray area that you're missing out on. Life doesn't exist on the extremes, so letting go of all or nothing thinking will go a long way during this transition. As you mentally prepare, I would encourage you to find a mental health professional who can safely guide you through these challenges. It's not worth it to go through it alone, and it's so important to take your mental health seriously. I used BetterHelp during my career transition, and it was a game changer for sure. But ultimately, just being prepared for the fact that your career change is going to be mentally challenging can give you a huge leg up.